Okay, section 6, question 1. A taxi fare consists of a call-out charge of £1.80 plus a fixed cost per kilometre. A journey of 4 kilometres costs £6.60. The straight line graph shows the fare f pounds for a journey of d kilometres. Find the equation of the straight line. First thing that I can spot, which is important, is that I'm given the y-intercept. The y-intercept tells me if I'm given that, I'm going to use y equals mx plus c. So for y equals mx plus c, I need two things. I need the y-intercept, which I've got, and I need to find the gradient. So I'm going to find the gradient by, first of all, locating the 2 points that lie in the line and then using the gradient formula. I can see that I'm 0 along and 1.80 up for the first point. I'm 4 along and 6.60 up for the second point, and I'll label them x1, y1, x2, y2, and remember that my gradient formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so y2 is 6.60 minus y1, which is 1.80, over 4 minus 0. .60 take away 1.80, so just take your time with that, and that's going to be 4.80 over 4. Again, take your time. 4.80 over 4. You can go to the side and do a division with that one. Take your time, and that's 1.2. The gradient of the line is 1.2. We can see again that the y-intercept is 1.80. So we've got the y-intercept and the gradient, and it's pretty clear then that we can write in the form y equals mx plus c. The gradient is 1.2, so 1.2x plus the y-intercept again, which is 1.80. Now, important thing to note with this question, and not to give away a mark at the end, is the y-axis is actually called the f-axis and the x-axis is actually called the d-axis, so we make that change. Where I see y, I'm going to replace it with f, and where I see d, I'm going to replace that, where I see x rather, I'm going to replace that with d. F equals 1.2, d plus 1.80. Now, part B now says calculate the fare for a journey of 7 kilometres. Now, the important thing to do at this point of the question is to interpret what this question means and what this rule up here means, the equation of the straight line. What this is basically saying is that the fare of the taxi ride is equal to 1.2 lots of the distance in kilometres plus the 1.80, £1.80 fixed charge at the start. So again, it's a rule for the taxi fare. Taxi fare is equal to 1.2 lots of the distance covered plus £1.80 at the charge at the start. So for a journey of 7 kilometres, it's pretty simple. What I should do then is where I see d, I replace it with 7. So the fare this time is going to be equal to 1.2 lots of the distance, which is 7, plus £1.80. Now, I'm going to just go to the side and work out 1.2 times 7. Just take your time with it. Don't do that on your head. Take your time, show you're working. Line up the decimal point. 7 2s are 14, 4 down, carry 1. 7 1s are 7, plus 1 is 8. I'm going to bring that back in then. So the fare cost will be £8.40 plus £1.80. Take your time, £10.20. Important thing at the end as well is to give some units and meaning to your answer. It's a cost in pounds, therefore I'm going to record that, and my fare is £10.20, and that's the final answer. Section 6, question 2. A straight line cuts the x-axis at the point 90 and the y-axis at the point 018 is shown. Find the equation of the line. So again, for find the equation of the straight line, if I've been given the y-intercept, which I have, that's an indication to me that I should use y equals mx plus c as my equation. So for y equals mx plus c, I'm looking for the y-intercept, which I've got, and I'm looking for the gradient of the line, which I've still to find out. Now I'm going to find the gradient of the line by, first of all, identifying the 2 points that lie on the line. So the first point up here is 0 along and 18 up, and that will be 0, 18. Second point down here on the x-axis, 9 along, 0 up, 9, 0. I'm then going to label my first point as x1, y1, second point as x2, y2. Then find the gradient. Gradient formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 0 minus 18 over 9 minus 0. Just be careful with your sign. 0 take away 18 is minus 18 divided by 9. Minus 18 over 9. Again, be careful, that's not 2, but it's minus 2. So the gradient of the line is minus 2. I can clearly see that the y-intercept is 18. So I've got the 2 pieces of information that I need. Y equals mx plus c. Gradient's minus 2. Y-intercept is 18. Y equals minus 2x plus 18. And that's the final answer. Section 6, question 3. A taxi fare consists of a £2 call-out charge plus a fixed amount per kilometre. The graph shows the fare f pounds for a journey of d kilometres. So again, this is another real-life context question with a straight line. The taxi fare for a 5 kilometre journey is £6. Find the equation of the straight line in terms of d and f. Right, so I'm looking for the equation of the straight line. So again, I've been given the y-intercept again with this question. That's an indication that I'm going to use y equals mx plus c. So for y equals mx plus c, 2 pieces of information that I need is the y-intercept and the gradient. I've got the y-intercept, I can see that clearly, that's 2. I now need to find the gradient. So the first point is 0 along, 2 up. The second point I can see there is 5, 6. So I'm going to label these as x1, y1 and x2, y2. My gradient formula is that m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Just take your time. 6, take away 2. Over 5, take away 0. Six take away 2 is 4, over 5 take away 0 is 5. The gradient of the line is 4/5. The gradient of the line is 4/5. I can clearly see that the y-intercept is 2. So into y equals mx plus c, and that's going to be y equals 4/5 x plus 2. I then need to check the y-intercept, or rather the y-axis is actually called the f-axis. The x-axis is actually called the d-axis. So I'll replace y with f and x with d. And f equals 4/5 d plus 2 is the equation of this straight line. And that's the end of the question.